Hello, friends. It's Mr. Matt here with your children's Sunday school lesson for today. Now, you'll remember that we're talking about the story of Jesus and the feeding of the 5,000. And we'll be looking at this all throughout the month of February. Now, in case you didn't hear it last week, I'll just recap the story for you. Jesus has been going throughout the countryside, and he's been stopping and he's teaching and he's healing people, and word of Jesus is starting to spread. And as people are traveling to Jerusalem for the Passover, they hear that Jesus is nearby, and so they stop and they sort of turn because they want to see and hear who this person Jesus is. And so thousands and thousands and thousands of people start to gather around. And Jesus sees them all, and he takes a pretty good guess that they're hungry. And he asks his disciples, and he said, well, what are we going to do to feed all of these people? And the disciples aren't sure. They say, Jesus, there's no way that we can feed all these people. There isn't some place where we could go and buy food. And even if we could, it would be so expensive. We don't have the money to do that. You should probably send these people on their way. And Jesus says, no, we're not going to do that. Have people gather around and see what food we might have. And so as the people gather around, there's a young man or a boy nearby, and he has a little bit of food. He's got some loaves of bread and a few fish, and Jesus says, that'll be enough. So bring it here. And Jesus has people sit down, and he takes this food that is in hand in this basket, and he blesses it. And then he takes it and he tells his disciples, well, take this food and share it with the people that are here. So the disciples start doing that. And as they do, they keep reaching into the basket, and there's still food. And this food gets passed out from group to group, from family to family, throughout all of the people that have gathered here to hear Jesus. And they all get something to eat. Not only that, they get their fill. They get all of the food that they eat. They can't eat anymore. Their bellies are so full. And then Jesus tells the disciples, okay, now go around and gather up any of the leftovers, because nothing should go to waste. And the disciples do that, and they gather up 12 more baskets of the leftovers. It's a miraculous story of what happens and what can happen when Jesus is there. But today, I want to focus on a little lesson within that story that we might want to remember. I want you to think about, how did the disciples react to this really big job that Jesus was telling them they needed to do, that they needed to feed all of these people? Well, the disciples reacted probably how you and I would react to see thousands of people coming up and having Jesus say, well, we need to feed them. What are we going to do? And we would start thinking about all of the things that would get in the way. We'd say, well, we don't have any food, and we don't have enough money to go buy food, and I'm not sure what we're going to do, so maybe we just shouldn't do this at all, Jesus. Maybe we should send them away. And that's the way people sometimes react when God is asking us to do something big, or when God is asking us to get outside of our comfort zone and to do something that we're not sure about. We tend to come up with the obstacles, and then we see the reasons why we can't, or why it would be hard to do this, rather than saying, all right, Lord, let's figure it out together. So the way the disciples react isn't unusual or unexpected. The way Jesus reacts, though, is different. Jesus sees that there is a need to be filled, that there are lots and lots of hungry people that have gathered around. And Jesus knows that there's always enough. And Jesus says, we'll just start with a little. We'll start with this one basket. And then what we'll do is we'll take it and we'll pray over it. And we will see what God can do with it. And Jesus, in the midst of this big job, says, we'll start with a little. We'll talk to God about it and let God make the right thing happen. And we'll just follow and help where he goes. And then all of these people get fed. I think there's something there for us, because there are going to be times where you're going to see something that needs to happen, something that needs to be done. You're going to see someone that's in need. You're going to see a mission that the church should undertake. And you're going to say, and start coming up with all the reasons why you can't. But instead, I'd like for you to think about this story of the feeding of the 5,000 and remember that the lesson here in it is maybe we can. Maybe if we start small, using whatever little bit that we have, whatever little bit that we can bring for Jesus to take and for Jesus to bless and pray over, then maybe we can make that big difference. Maybe we can help to bring God's kingdom into this world just a little bit. So I think that's a life lesson that all Christians can learn and remember from this story, that it's not only about the miraculous feeding of all these people, but it's also the lesson that might be in it for us. That if we bring ourselves and the little bit that we have to Jesus, he's able to take that and do some really remarkable things. And if we do, maybe we might see a miracle in our own lives. So that's our Sunday school story and our Sunday school lesson for today. And if you go over to the activity video, you'll see that we have, it's a video lesson this week. So you'll have a chance to watch a pretty interesting story. So I hope you'll jump and do that as well. All right. Until next week, I hope you all stay safe, take care of yourselves and the people around you, and we'll see you real soon. Bye for now.